Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into A Glitch in the Matrix. Boy, do I have an interesting show for us today. I have my friend John Vandeventer here. He's the author of the Relics book series, and I'm going to pull him up in just a second. But I would love for you guys to please, if you'd like to check out all my shows, y'all can go subscribe first of all to my YouTube channel, the Cryptid Huntress, and you can find all of my shows on my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. Yeah, I have a show on Spaced Out Radio every Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, and those are all posted on my website, in addition to the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel and their website. So y'all go do that. Go check all my shows out. Also, if you'd like to support what I do have a Patreon, and it really goes along well with my remote viewing show that I do on Thursday nights. You get access to all of my remote viewing data for all of those cool targets that I do. That's on Patreon. And also, I have an Etsy shop. It's called War Woman Good. So everybody go check that out when you get a chance. It really does help. It helps me get these shows out there. Okay. That's how I'm supporting myself these days. Okay. It's partly. Okay. So thank you guys. Also, if you would like to see the Cryptid Huntress in person, I'm going to be at a bunch of different conferences this year and festivals. Starting off with April 1st, I'm going to be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference in Dillard, Georgia. That's right beside Clayton, up in Northeast Georgia. Y'all come see me there. I'm presenting a little presentation, I guess. And then I'll be at the Las Vegas Spaced Out Radio fan party, and that's May 19th through the 21st. And then I go straight to Grafton, Illinois. That's with Journey to Truth Conference. That's May the 22nd through the 25th. And that's down on the ticker right now. Okay. All right. Well, there's been a lot of really crazy stuff going on in our world this week. And if y'all hadn't noticed, we've had UFOs being shot down. Allegedly, I guess. I don't know. The government's coming out and saying that we do have UFOs or some sort of, they're not even telling us what it is. They have been shooting down with like heat-seeking missiles, UFOs. And so who better to discuss this with today but my friend John Vandeventer. He actually is retired from the Air Force. Okay. And so I have been booking my guests kind of last minute so that I can keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on and have the best of guests on my show. So today I have John Vandeventer here. He is an author. He and I have a common bond. We both played rugby, okay, when we were younger, right, John? Hey, John. Right. Yes, we both we have that bond. Yes, but amongst other things. But you, John, I have to admit, I forgot to print out your entire bio before I started the show today. So I just thought of that right as the show was coming on. I was like, uh-oh. But you have an impressive background, and you do have also an impressive book series. And I've got one of your books right here, Relics 3. I've read all of your relics. I'm in the middle of this one right now. Amazing. Sasquatch, UFOs, even things that have to do with Antarctica. Stuff we're going to be talking about today, as a matter of fact. And so it is an honor and a privilege to have you here on my show today, John. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I always love being on your show.
Well, thank you. Well, you are, you spent a lot of time in the U.S. Air Force, and you have an eye for aircraft, I would assume.
Yes.
Yes. And I thought maybe we could talk about the UFOs that have been shot down over North America this past week. I mean, from what I understand, there's been at least 3 shot down. Now, something to me seems a little fishy about all this. But that's just my opinion, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, what are your thoughts on these UFOs that have been shot down by
Well,
those
I,
fighter
I wrote
jets?
some notes down here for this, and
Okay.
just real quick, one thing, you, most people are familiar with Roswell in 1947.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a bit funny that in 1947 they released radio message and it went to the press that they'd shot down a flying saucer or they had a crashed flying saucer. Then the next day it was a weather balloon.
Exactly.
The other day we get told that UFOs have been shot down and now it's a weather balloon. So some things don't change. My biggest question is, if you look at the timeline, February 4th, they shot down a Chinese balloon off the coast of South Carolina. And there was there's probably thousands of civilian witnesses to the thing as it tracked across our country. And, there was tons of witnesses filming it when they brought it down. Since then, February 10th, UFO shot down over Alaska. February 11th, F-22 downs another UFO over the Yukon Territory. And February 12th, another one shot down over Lake Huron.
Yeah.
Okay, everything we've heard on those has come from the government or the military.
Exactly.
I have not. Have you heard of any civilian or just ordinary citizen witnesses to any of this?
Okay, I can say that this is not UFOs, but that balloon that got shot down, my uncle actually filmed that from the
Yeah,
beach.
there
Okay.
was tons of people filming.
Yes, that was very it was viewable to the general public, okay? And it was a big deal, okay? All of this has been quite the big deal, but I want to see the footage. There's been no
Yeah,
wreckage. There, nobody has. What do you call it when they clean up the wreckage?
recovery.
Recovery. Yeah, there's no wreckage recovery. There's those fighter jets have cameras
Yeah,
on them.
gun camera technology goes back to World War II, and so they got the display they look through. Like you would, people want to call it their gun sight, is
Uh-huh.
actually a heads up display. It has their airspeed, their altitude, tracking information for whatever they've got on their radar. And there's a camera in that. Now, maybe what they attacked and shot down is classified and they don't want to release it. I don't know. I don't know how any more classified it could be than the Tic Tac or the other things that they picked up
Yeah.
back in the early, back in 2004, 2014, especially the video they had of what they called the gimbal, that one that was rotating while it was moving. I
Mm.
mean, I don't know why we're not getting anything except other than they're not ready to, or there's nothing there to film. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility because we really just don't know what's going on. But I find it a little odd that our government is actually coming out and saying that it could possibly be UFOs, of extraterrestrial origin. Maybe they're not ruling it out. Okay. But of course, everybody in the community, like the UFO community, my goodness, I have a show on Spaced Out Radio. So, I have my finger is on the pulse of a lot of this stuff. And a lot of people think that it could absolutely be Project Bluebeam coming into play. Okay. But I don't know, like we're going to get to that in a little bit too, because there's a whole conspiracy behind that. And I think most of the conspiracies I know of, they've all come true. So,
Yeah.
um,
What's that thing I see on Facebook? Conspiracy theorists are 37 and 0.
oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But the thing about it is when the mainstream media starts really pushing this narrative about the UFOs and making a big deal about it, I wonder, UFOs have been around for hundreds of years, for probably way longer than that. You can find UFOs in artwork that goes back to medieval times, to the walls of the pyramids in Egypt. Okay. The cave walls, okay, caves in, like petroglyphs and things like that go back thousands and thousands of years. UFOs and aliens and things like that. So why now? Why is it such a big deal now that they would want to make this public and make a big deal about it, John.
There's something else I noticed about this. If you take the headlines now about UFO activity, it's roughly the same as we were getting back in the late 40s and early 50s before Project Blue Book and all this stuff. And they started making fun of people for reporting UFOs. Early 40s or early 50s, late 40s, early 50s, a UFO headline was a legitimate thing in a newspaper. And it seems to be now. But then we had that long space of 60 years or so where anybody mentions a UFO is kind of like third page in a joke column or something like that. So they're being taken serious again by the media. Also, there's been a couple of reports that they were Tic Tac shaped. And there's a photo. Have you seen the photo of the one that was supposedly shot down?
I did. I'm not sure if I have it uploaded, but yes, I do. I did see a picture of it. I didn't upload it. It's one thing I didn't upload today.
Well, I just find it funny that it was mentioned kind of a Tic Tac shape. And, maybe it's just my suspicious nature, but I have to wonder if they didn't report them as Tic Tac shaped back in the early 2000s to set up whatever they're trying to do now, in case there is like a Project Blue Beam scenario like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Now, I do have a map of where the different ones were shot down. Okay. Now, number one was that weather balloon or that spy balloon or whatever the heck that was. I don't know. That big white balloon. That was South Carolina. My uncle lives at Myrtle Beach. And so that's where he saw that and filmed it. But then we've got the next one was over in Alaska. Now, last weekend, I was scheduled to have Fred in Alaska, Fred Roll, on my show at Spaced Out Radio. And right before the show, his Wi-Fi just would not work at all. And he said that ever since they'd shot that thing down, whatever it was, he said that a lot of their Wi-Fi and electronic stuff had gotten really wonky over there. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but he thought that maybe it did. And so he ended up not being able to join me that night on the show. But after the one in Alaska, there was a U.S. fighter pilot, I guess jet pilot, whatever you call it. I'm sorry, I'm slaughtering these terms.
Stick actuator.
Okay, absolutely. That's why I got you here, John. But they followed one into Canada. Apparently, I think that started off in the U.S. and they followed it into Canada and shot it down over the Yukon. Okay, or Yukon, not the Yukon. And then the next one was over the Great Lakes. And it was shot down. Now, I did read that they actually shot at it once and the missile missed. And I think it was like a heat-seeking missile. And we got to remember, these objects that they're shooting at are in commercial airline space. Okay. This is where regular airplanes that are transporting humans, from city to city, it's in that airspace. So how dangerous is that, John, to be shooting things that are in commercial airspace?
Well, but see, this goes back to, I haven't heard of any civilian witnesses to any of these shootdowns.
I know, right?
The one last week, there was thousands of witnesses. Your uncle, for instance.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm kind of suspicious of, or I don't know, and you know what? I was not a fighter pilot. I did not employ air-to-air weapons. I was a wrench bender, crew chief. I took care of the airplane. So I cannot speak for pilots other than, the ones I knew. But I was a little suspicious of using a missile to shoot down the weather balloon. If it's a non-maneuvering target, he could have, one burp from his 20 millimeter would have brought it down. And those missiles are expensive. We could have probably got out of that thing for $500 worth of ammo from the cannon.
Wow.
So, yeah, and to be deploying that stuff over populated areas, I don't know, I would think you'd have a lot more debris falling from a missile than you would the, simple bursts of the cannon. But then again, since we have no information on the ones that have been shot down this week, we don't know if they were maneuvering, if they were a threat to the pilots, if they, if there was there may have been actual combat, and maybe that's why we're not getting any information. But I would think, unless it's a drone from China or Russia or some other country. If they're drones, our jets can probably handle them. If they're extraterrestrial and they've come here from, the stars, or come here from another dimension, I just can't see our aircraft shooting them down that easy. Just, well, but that's an assumption. I'm assuming they're more technologically advanced than we are.
Yeah. Well, they were saying that they pose a reasonable threat, okay, to safety of civilian flight, okay, of like the civilian I think heat-seeking missiles are more of a threat than UFOs. I mean, I personally have seen UFOs with my own eyes several times, okay, and I don't think they pose a threat. I might have been abducted. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, nautical terms, there's a thing they call hazard to navigation. If there's a, floating wreckage from a boat or ship or something, they'll sink it so that another ship or something doesn't hit it in the middle of the night. And maybe that's, this was the aerial version of that they were talking about. So there could, if it's in airspace used by airlines, there could possibly be a collision or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. Well, there's also the thought of this is soft disclosure, really. I mean, or it is disclosure perhaps by our government. I mean, this could be like another angle of the whole thing is, it's time for our government to kind of roll out that there are UFOs, so that maybe, I don't know, this could get into a problem, or it may just be a genuine disclosure, that we've been living with aliens. We got aliens living on our planet, So I don't know. Our government is not really coming out with a lot of information, though, John.
No,
I have not seen a press conference yet.
And you kind of have to look at what's the most likely candidate for what's going on. Like you say, we've had UFOs since the beginning of time. They've been talked about back to biblical days and probably before that. Every civilization on Earth has had some kind of dealings with them, or legends about them at the very least. There's I don't know if you've ever listened to L.A. Marzulli. Are you familiar with him?
I've heard of the name, but no.
Well, he makes a thing about the UFO phenomenon that makes a lot of sense. He goes, we never see them coming. And he subscribes that they're an interdimensional craft, not an interstellar. He says, because if they were coming from another star, eventually we'd start seeing them in transit. And there's never any reports of that I know of. I'm not all knowing on the UFO subject, but I've never read any reports of spotting controlled craft in transit from into the solar system or out. Yeah.
Well, I can attest, dealing with portals. Okay. This is it's either 5 or 6 year anniversary. I think it's 5 year of my team experiencing the portal at the Meadow. And we spent the last weekend in the Meadow, by the way. And so we do know that portals exist. I actually remote viewed weaponized Earth's weaponized portals with Barry Littleton. And yes, there were ships coming in and out of the portals and even ending up at the sun, coming in and out of the sun in my data. So, I would have to say that, yeah, I believe that there are ships coming in and out of portals. That's according to all my data that I get. So yeah. Do you think that these crafts pose a threat?
Well, they haven't yet, other than the possibility of another aircraft running into them. I haven't seen any reports of them being hostile. Now, we don't know what they are. We have no idea what they're doing. Our government, I'm assuming, does. So they may be an intelligence threat. They could be a threat to aerial navigation, or they could present a military threat. But maybe they've taken some kind of hostile action against our military installations we don't know about. Right. They shut down the airspace over Montana last week, and who knows, maybe they're a follow-up to the Chinese balloon. Chinese balloon could have come by taking pictures. Hey, we got this, and this. We want to investigate it. Then they send in these other aerial vehicles to either take it out or interrupt their operations or something like that. It could be something like that too. So
yeah. Um, well, so I go with my gut, okay, and my intuition. I let it all guide me, and it's got me pretty far so far. Okay, something just seems a little off with this, and it just seems very well laid out. Like having the weather balloon going out in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and all those people seeing it and taking pictures, and to it kind of set the whole narrative off on a path. Okay, to have all this other stuff happen. And
Yeah, and
I have to question things because there's so much going on. I feel like this could be like a distraction from all of the disasters that are happening all around us that the media is not covering. We're so focused on the balloons and the UFOs right now when we have things like the train derailment that's going on and the chemical spills. People can't drink their water. They're being told to stay in their houses because of the chemicals. There's just a whole lot of stuff going on in this world that makes me a little suspicious.
I like Jorgen Johansson, his quote
Uh-huh.
there. If it was something extraterrestrial, they couldn't shoot him down. He's probably right. I mean, if they're that advanced, they would have countermeasures probably.
Well, they go through a portal, man.
Yeah,
You can't shoot through those portals.
Yeah, and I kind of think along those lines too. If there was something that far ahead of us, we would have a hard time shooting them down. I mean, I'm sure they would have seen what happened to the balloon.
Yeah.
Take corrective measures for it.
Yes.
But
I saw an interesting a little quote, right? It said, I forgot what I was reading, but someone said it could be aliens, but they're leaving it up to the intelligence community to decide. Okay.
right.
Can we trust those people, John?
No, that's like somebody sent me something the other day saying that they were extraterrestrials, and the FBI had told the president that yes, they have studied them and they are extraterrestrials, and this is coming from the FBI. And I was thinking, I think the military would be giving out that information, not the FBI, to the president. But then again, I don't work in government.
Yes, I know, right? Absolutely. I was thinking maybe you and I could go through some artwork that I found online
Yes, please.
that goes all the way back to the beginning of time, where we actually have UFOs depicted on cave walls and on the in the pyramids and things like that of ancient Egypt. And so let me do a little presentation real quick, okay? And because this is only to show the audience that these UFOs are nothing new. Okay. And I can, like I said, I've spent a lot of time out in the field doing field research with, my bigfooting team. But we've experienced either as much or more ET activity than we have Bigfoot activity out there. Okay. So this is not like brand new. Okay. At all by any means. It's just, there's a lot of things that have been hidden from us for a very long time. Oh, I did find this really cool graphic here, John. You can appreciate that.
I've seen that. Yes, that's awesome.
Everything's a weather balloon, okay, or swamp gas. And yeah, I had, oops, let me turn my volume off my phone. I had Raymond Samansky on my show on Spaced Out Radio, and he was one of the lead scientists at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where they allegedly took the bodies from the Roswell crash there. And he's actually written a book about the swamp. It's a book called Swamp Gas My Ass.
So he was at Wright-Pat. Did he say what years he was in?
I can't remember. Yeah, he did. But I don't remember off the top of my head right now.
Well, if you ever talk to him again, ask him a question for me.
Okay.
It was 1989. I was there for a rugby tournament with the Air Force. And there was a bill, we were laughing because we'd heard about all that, but we were more interested in the Air Force Museum there. But there was at this time in 1989, there was a building on there that had a chain link fence around it, then chain link on the building and over the top of the building.
Ooh.
On the sides. And we were all looking at that and wonder what they got in there.
Ooh.
If I'm remembering right, or either the chain link went across from the fence, but there was chain link all around the building, even the top. And we were all laughing and said, oh, it must be where the flying saucer is.
What was that? Like Hangar 18 or Hangar something? I had a number
something
to
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, the building was yellow. I mean, that was what, 40 years ago, nearly, at least now. So or 30
Yeah,
something.
I'm realizing I'm getting old over here because I was yeah, yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about age and years. Okay. So yeah, but he said he claimed that they did not take the body there. He doesn't think. But and yeah. I'll have to go
Well, if
back and
you ever
watch that
see him
show.
again,
He
ask
Ram
him
is awesome.
if you ever talk to him again, ask him if he knew what was up with the building covered in chain link.
I will. We're friends on Facebook. I'll send him a message after the show today. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's see. These are some of the pictures that I found online of paintings that were on cave walls and stuff like that. I mean, this
Looks
is
like ancient swamp gas.
yeah, it's all swamp gas, right? Swamp gas my ass, according to Raymond Samansky. So, yeah, this is actually in Australia. This is not depicting UFOs, but it looks like what could be considered aliens. Okay, something that's not of this world. Or it could be a whole like a gang of robbers. I don't know. It looks like a robber mask right there, but I doubt it. It's probably aliens. This is in Egypt on a pyramid wall. Okay, it shows what appears to be a UFO with something inside of it, driving, I guess, flying, whatever. And here's more. This actually looks like airplanes and helicopters.
It really does.
I mean, okay, well, John, you and I both know there could be time travel involved here as well. There's all sorts of weird stuff that could be going on with this, right? But nonetheless, this is ancient. This is ancient.
Is
out
that
of
was
Egypt.
that Egyptian too? The thing with the aircraft?
This
And
okay?
yeah,
That is
one
from
after this one.
Egypt. Yeah, that is from Egypt. Yes.
Okay. And what about the next one? The one in between?
The next one
Yeah,
is
this-
Egypt as well. Yes.
Okay.
These are like hieroglyphics or something. So yes, straight out of Egypt, very ancient, and this as well. Actually, there's I haven't circled them, but in the middle of those three pillars, there's a UFO. There's UFOs. There's at least two UFOs in there. Okay, or what people consider to be UFOs. Okay, and then we've got these paintings on cave walls that look like aliens. They got antennas on their heads and stuff like that. Here's another ancient depiction right here. That looks like, I don't know, that looks like an alien to me. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the eyes on your, what people are calling grays now.
Yeah, it sure does.
It looks like a UFO behind it. So
yeah. Now this is interesting because this is in Utah. Okay. I mean, that looks like kind of alien-like, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
Yeah. So
do you know how old that happens to be? Any idea?
I don't have a date on that. I'm not sure.
Well, that would have been done by Native Americans.
Well, yes. Allegedly, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know, really. I actually watched the show the other day about they were putting it out there, just putting it out there that perhaps the Egyptians lived here in America, like what we know to be like the Egyptians. Some of the original Egyptians were actually in America. There's a reason they don't let you into. I think it's the Grand Canyon. There's like caves and stuff, and they found mummies and all sorts of Egyptian artifacts in there. So, along with giants, by the way. Now this right here is said to be at least 10,000 years old. Okay, not that's an alien graphic, modern day graphic, but on the wall, that's said to be over 10,000 years old right there. And also there was a coin found. This is allegedly out of Egypt. Now, I didn't do a whole lot of research on this, but I've seen this around on the web. They say this is a coin that was found in Egypt. Now, I don't know.
I've seen photographs of one like that one or a similar one too.
Okay, well, and here's something that's even more interesting than any of these, in my opinion. The depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ here, there are aliens painted into this picture, UFOs, with people writing in them, actually. They look kind of like comets. But in some of these major historical events, there are UFOs painted into the pictures. Okay.
Well, if you look at the operator, the one on the right, it looks like he's looking back at the one, like he's running from the one that's pursuing him. Yeah,
yes.
And look at the emblem on the side of his craft there.
Wow.
Wonder what that means.
I have no idea. That's very interesting, though. Yeah, it's worth looking into. I mean, and these old like Renaissance paintings and stuff, I don't know. There's UFOs. Look, there's a guy in the background that's actually looking up at it. Something flying in the sky. If you pay attention to the details. I just find this fascinating, right? And
yeah, it is. It's very fascinating.
this, I don't even know what this painting is. I had it written down and I can't remember where I put it, but this is, it looks like another craft beaming down. And this is a medieval, basically the medieval era.
That's
This,
a wood carving from Nuremberg,
oh,
Germany.
interesting.
Yeah, during medieval times. Supposedly, the guy was portraying a battle that took place in the sky one night over
Yes.
Nuremberg.
Like Star Wars, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's interesting. Okay, and then we've got this. This is called the Salamanca Cathedral, or I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. We have ancient astronauts carved in the side of this cathedral. That looks like
Wow.
an astronaut. Okay, I mean, and these things are so old. Okay, and then here's another painting where there's another UFO. Okay, from way back in the day. All right, what is this? This is the Summer's Triumph tapestry. This is like a tapestry that depicts UFOs in the sky right here. I don't know what year that is, but like I said, if you just do some digging, I mean, there's UFOs in a lot of these old paintings and stuff. Even some of the more famous paintings that we know, it's just never been pointed out or it's covered up. So. These UFOs, man, why? That's why I'm like, why is our government just now wanting us to be concerned with them now?
Have you ever noticed that something that's always intrigued me in the modern era of UFOs, and so I'm talking about from the 1800s, they were always possessing technology just barely out of our reach. Like a lot of the first UFOs reported in America were like airships. They called them airships. But they were these things were happening about 30, 35 years before airships were feasible or even built, and then it was the rockets in Norway and, like Kenneth Arnold's sighting, the original sighting, that started the whole flying saucer craze.
Oh,
he didn't describe them as flying saucers. He described them as bad-shaped or delta-shaped wings. But they were skipping through the air like a saucer on water. But the media came up with the term flying saucer, and that's how we got it. And then after that term came out, it was like all of a sudden people started reporting the disc-shaped objects.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. I'm just going to say maybe our media really shapes the minds of us. It's called programming for a reason, right? Where everybody's been programmed. And I feel like that may be what's going on right now is that everybody's been super programmed. Not all of us, we've gotten out of it. Okay. I am the glitch in the matrix. You and I, John, we're glitches in the matrix. And just kind of bringing this out to the forefront today. Not to say, I don't know for sure if these were real UFOs or if there's something that our government has had their hand in. As part of a global takeover, that kind of thing. But I did want to make a point today to mention some of the disastrous things that are going on, especially in the United States right now. I have a couple of pictures here too, just to show the audience today, because there's some really sad things happening around. I believe this is in East Palestine, Ohio. They had a Norfolk Southern train. I come from a railroad family. My granddaddy and my uncle, and actually the uncle who took the picture of the weather balloon worked for Norfolk Southern. Okay, so but we have a long history of railroad workers in my family, and there's been a lot of train derailments lately, John, and a lot of hazardous materials have been spilled. And not only that, but I feel like there's been an attack on like our food supplies with all these buildings that have been damaged and caught on fire that have killed livestock and grains and things that we need to eat and survive. And then don't get me started on the lines on the sky, if you know what I mean. Those things too that are blocking out the sun. And I mean, there's just a clear attack on humanity right now, in my opinion. And this is a poor guy with he found a fox. All the animals are dying off in these areas. The fish are dying, the wildlife's dying. The humans are getting sick. And I took a screenshot of this. I was watching a video of the EPA's actually gone in and said that the water's safe to drink. And this fellow actually pulled some water out of the tap in Ohio, and the video is actually of him boiling the water, and it's just a clear, substance inside the water, and it's like a film. It smells like chemicals, but they're saying it's safe to drink. So,
personally, I think you're on the right track with that. I think it's a red herring. I know there's a lot of people who want it to be real UFOs from outer. I would think it'd be kind of cool too, as long as they were friendly. But I really think every year we seem to get a big distraction thrown at us, and it's just what you were saying. We're having food shortages, farmland's going bad or being purchased, and farmers are being paid not to produce their food.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, cow farts are an issue for the climate.
Cow farts. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we need to get rid of cattle. We need to get rid of chickens. We need, the things we eat. I saw a thing the other day with two aliens looking at the Earth, and one of them told the other alien, "No, they're not ready for us to come down yet because they're starting to eat bugs to fight global warming."
Oh my God!
And that's true. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you look at the scandals, going on. Biden's having a bad year. The classified documents, his son's laptop's back in the news. Epstein's back in the news. The judge has ordered he wants a list there. There's so many things going on that don't get talked about and don't get reported on, and they get buried under things like UFOs. Last year it was, we're running short of money for things here, for programs here. And we sent billions upon billions to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that was last year's big thing.
It's a disaster. There's one thing after another right now.
Yeah.
And the eggs, my God. Eggs were always the cheapest thing ever to buy, especially when I was doing the keto diet. I'd go and get like a dozen eggs for like 89 cents. Okay. Now they're $9 a dozen. I mean, they're over $5 a dozen here in Georgia.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was really sick over the holidays, and we had gotten chickens, and they were just maybe a month away from starting to lay, but they were tearing everything up, and I was sick and I couldn't take care of them, and it was ended up giving them to a neighbor. I may have to go down and buy my own eggs from him, but it was cold and it was nasty, and I was really ill, so I was like, man, I can't take care of those outside. I can't go outside and take care of the chickens, so I ended up giving them to a neighbor, and I thought, well, that was an investment down the tubes.
I mean, I would love to get chickens. Maybe the next place I live, I'll have some chickens. I don't know. The HOA is not too big on chickens over here, so. But it's good to know people who have farms. It's good to have friends who have livestock, and to know your local farmers, because that's where we're heading right now. Everybody, I just want to y'all prepare, okay?
And if you don't mind me saying so, it's good to know your local sheriff and what his politics are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure he's a constitutionalist, so the federal government can't come in and start taking your rights away.
That is something
good thing happened here in Oklahoma. Last week or the week before, the governor sent a letter out to all the sheriffs and said he expected every sheriff in Oklahoma to protect the citizens of Oklahoma, protect their constitutional rights against any federal agency. So, I'm not just banging on the federal government. There's good people in the federal government, but it's also a big organization with its own agenda. And we're not always, we as citizens, we are not always a priority.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And none of us said, what about the egg shortages? Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is, it's manipulated, and it's a made crisis. I mean, I'm not sure that's the right term, but, it's manufactured. That's what I meant to say. Manufactured crises. Is that, I guess that's
there you go.
I can't talk today. John, before we started the show, I was stumbling all over the place. I don't know what's going on today, but there's a whole lot going on that we should be concerned about. We should be concerned. But my goodness, forget about all that right now, because we have UFOs flying over the United States, and we're going to have them shot down with heat-seeking missiles. God forbid you got to take a flight. Oh my gosh. And a F-22 or F-16 pulls up beside you. I mean, I don't know. It's we live in such a wacky world right now. But yeah, and I just feel like we all know that they've been around for so long. Let's see what else we got. What else we have going on? Oh yeah, like the biometric tyranny that's going on as well. Mass surveillance, John. I mean, the list goes on. Yeah.
Well, I live out in the middle of nowhere, and so I don't go into town a whole lot. But when I do, I always forget you're probably being filmed, everything you do. Now pumping gas, I just started looking around, and you can look all over and see all the cameras, and I kind of like living out in the country. Well, who knows? They may have a satellite up there beamed down on little old John, but I doubt it. But
yeah. Oh, my sister has goats. Okay. She has miniature goats that are not so miniature, actually. But she has goats, and the feed has gotten so expensive. Just the hay alone, like everything is just skyrocketed. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it has gone up.
Dog food's gone up. Everything has.
Oh my goodness, yes, dog food. I don't know about Opie and May. I don't know what you can do with me. I mean, I'm spending more on dog food than I am people food some days.
We love our dogs.
I saw a thing talking about the chicken feed. Have you seen where there was a certain kind of feed that were causing the chickens not to lay? They switched to another type of feed, and the chickens started laying right away.
Hey, listen, if they can do that to chickens, imagine what they can do to human food.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They've been doing it, probably, whoever they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good to know how to make our own food, not just to make it, but to grow our own food. And, my son's best friend, his parents have, who are some of my best friends, they have a farm down the road from my house. And they have livestock, and they send their pigs to, I know this is horrible, hit the mute volume. Anybody who's a vegetarian and doesn't like eating animals, I'm so sorry. But they send their pigs to slaughter, once or twice a year. And I've bought, half pigs or quarter pigs, a quarter cow and a half pig. Okay. And fill up the chest freezer with that. And you have meat all year, like literally 2 years almost. I mean, there's so much meat.
And you know where it came from.
I mean, those were, I hate to say this, but those were their pets. Okay. They had good lives. Until their final moments there. So, but the meat is better than any other meat you can buy. It's organic. It doesn't have all the chemicals in it. And they have chickens too. So we sometimes get eggs from them as well. But yeah, it's just kind of changing the perspective on how we buy food and how we see things. And even drinking water, John. I mean, I have a water filter. I got the Alexa Pure Pro. Okay. And I do not drink any water other than water that comes out of that metal, that thing. Yeah. It takes out everything in the fluoride. Everybody knows I'm a proponent of getting the fluoride out of your water.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, because the people who drink too much fluoride, there's too much fluoride going in, our third eyes are all calcified, and you're easier to control. Okay. And not see past this stuff that could potentially be like a Project Bluebeam situation. Not saying it is, just putting it out there. I think we should question everything. Okay. My humble opinion on all of this.
Well, it would, they call people conspiracy theorists and make fun of it. But, when you have individuals that seem to have this unlimited access to media and power through the media, like your Fauci's and your, Bill Gates, especially Bill Gates was this little computer nerd. What's he doing running around holding vaccines and talking about, people need to be eating this, everybody but him. And I don't want to go off on things that might get your show canceled, but that little procedure we were all supposed to get in 2021 that involved the needle.
The procedure.
People lost their jobs. They lost everything because of that, because they wouldn't do it. They were demanding you to do this, but Congress didn't have to. If you were a congressman, you were what's the word I'm looking for? If I wasn't on the internet right now, no, you were exempt from having to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
other federal workers were compelled to, as well as medical workers and emergency personnel, and it's ridiculous. We should not be forced to do anything that's not forced upon Congress.
That's right. We should
They work
question
for us.
everything.
Yes, they are not our
Absolutely.
masters. They are not our rulers, and people need to get that in their heads and get it in your
Right.
heart that you are a free American, and that's what this
Yes.
country stands for. And we're not there. There's no ruling class here, or there is, unfortunately, now, but it's our own fault
Yeah.
for letting it happen. And
they all work for us, by the way. They all work for us, so y'all remember that too, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to. I hope I don't get you in trouble, but term limits. Do you hear
Term
that?
limits, yeah. Okay, well, hey, how about this? How about we just get back on the topic of UFOs?
Yeah,
now?
let's get back to
let's just do that.
safe.
That's what we're here for. But in a way, it's all connected, because it's all about control. It's all about controlling the narrative. It's all about people remaining in power that probably shouldn't be. And I'm just going to say the veil thinning, I guess, for lack of a better term, and people waking up and stepping outside the matrix, and just the fact that we're questioning this UFO shoot down thing. It gives me a lot of hope in humanity. Okay, that so many people are questioning this, because we're not all blind to it, and we don't trust what comes out of the televisions anymore.
Well, you're right. That's a good thing. And I remember times when, that a couple of decades ago, if this would have happened, everybody'd been cheering and USA, USA, USA. But we do need to stop and ask questions.
We do. Yes.
Yes. I like the war on terror. I supported the president office and I was a veteran, and I supported everything he did. And I had two sons go to Iraq. I lost one 2 years ago from PTSD from what he'd gone through over there, and I got another one in a wheelchair with no legs. And I look back now and I'm thinking, why were we in Iraq? We didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a root of terrorist activity until our troops went in there and the terrorists came over there to get them. So we do need to ask questions, and it doesn't make you less patriotic, and it doesn't make you love your country even less, or racist, or any of that. I mean, I love all people. I want everybody to succeed. We're all on one big boat, and I don't want anybody taking water. I don't care who you are. I'm for you. I don't want us to be against each other. We need to come back to the human element, and okay, let's get back to flying saucers.
Yes, we are. Well, we're all human. And and yes, like Ronald Reagan that made that big speech? I think that Dave Scott actually plays it on his intro every night on his show on Spaced Out Radio. If they're a threat of an alien takeover, or the aliens coming here, that would be one thing that would absolutely bring humanity together. Okay, and I'm thinking today, like, the threat of Project Bluebeam might bring a lot of us together. Okay. Because but that can be used for positive, or it can be used for negative. It just depends. The threat of an alien takeover and an invasion. I think we already have aliens among us, John.
I do too.
We do.
I don't know exactly what they are, but we have. I believe they're among us, and they're not human. I don't know where they come from. I have my own thoughts, but yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Well, you cover some of this interesting stuff in your book series, Relics. And, I found this was really cool that I did a show on last Thursday with Barry Littleton. He gave me some blind targets to remote view the black Octagons out of Antarctica. And there have been UFOs seen flying over those things, and all over Antarctica. And of course, we have allegedly there's a base there. Okay, alien base, or the U.S. has put a base there of some sort. And let's see, I have some notes on it somewhere. I don't know where my notes are, but anyways, there's allegedly a base down there. Okay, and you were in my chat because you got excited about it, because you had actually had those same Octagons, the black Octagons, in your book Relics 3 on the fighter jets, right? On the
Well,
airplanes.
actually, not the Octagon, but the Black Sun emblem and the
Oh,
grill.
okay.
And I
Okay.
had the base in I had the base in Antarctica in the book.
Yes.
And
Okay. Let's see.
that's
I
going
have
to
a
carry
picture of
over next
those.
year. Yeah. And actually, I started all that in Relics too. Yeah, but see the Black Sun emblem on the Octagon there?
Yes, I have a better shot
There
of
you
it
go. There it is. Yeah.
right there. Yes. So yeah, that was on your airplane. Okay,
Right.
on both
Right.
sides of that. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Um, so we found a connection there though. This was something that actually, when I remote viewed it, I didn't know what I was looking at because I had a blind target, and I was picking up on like stargates and portals and very ancient structures and ancient black structures. Okay, so but
Well,
it turns
that was
out,
really cool, and that's why I got excited because you
yeah.
hadn't read Relics 3 yet. And
No,
so here
I've
you
only
are,
read the
you're in
first few
Antarctica,
pages. I hadn't got
where
through
all
it.
this stuff's happening in my novel. Yeah, and you have the same emblems. And I'm like, wow. And then,
Yeah.
when I I sent a few words in on chat, and then you told Barry, and he started talking about, well, he wanted to hear about the mines in Israel. And I'm like, well, that's in the book too. That was a weird night. There was a lot of conversion going on there.
Yeah, it was really cool. Super, super duper cool. Now, something else that is associated with Antarctica, um, allegedly there were a lot of scientists that after World War II worked for Germany. I guess we can say Nazis. Okay, Nazi scientists allegedly they went to Antarctica. There's a base down there, and they were working on alien technology and things like that. And we even ended up bringing some of those scientists to America, and they created or worked for NASA. Okay, of all things. And it's talking about, yeah, a Project Paperclip. That's right. And yeah, I started working for NASA, started reverse engineering spacecraft allegedly and stuff like that. Um, what was his name? Werner von Braun, I think
Yeah.
was the head of NASA, right? He was out of Germany. I saw a video this morning of his assistant who talked about, her name was Dr. Carol Rosen. She went publicly and said that he would sometimes talk about NASA's last card. Okay, the last thing that they needed to have a total takeover of a one world government is going to be a fake alien invasion. Okay, that was straight out of the assistant to Werner von Braun, the head of NASA. Okay, and so that we've been warned about this for some time, that there would be an attempt to have a fake alien invasion. Now, this could be totally possible, John, if they have the right equipment. Okay, if they do have reverse engineered spacecraft and things like that. What are the odds of the technology being way beyond the years that they say it is when it comes to spacecraft and aircraft?
Well, it's very viable scenario. I mean, look at the opening to Star Wars a long, long time ago on a planet far, far away. Yeah, if it's advanced technology from another star, they could have been developed and modernized millions of years ago. In fact, I'm just a little spoiler alert. In Relics 3, I got a UFO that they uncover in a dig that's covered in sediment from the Great Flood.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, it's very feasible that if civilization able to travel from star to star is definitely, I would think, been around millions, maybe billions of years longer than us.
Yeah. Okay. So those black octagons that were in Antarctica, I picked up that those were millions of years old.
I wouldn't doubt
Millions.
it. And
Yeah. Multiple millions.
yeah, and who's to
I
say
mean,
who
that's
built
old.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're in Antarctica. I believe I have a map here, actually. I'm not exactly sure. Once allegedly there is a base set up down in Antarctica, they made it a no-fly zone. So you can't even fly over that anymore. I don't know if they ever did. Well, you hear the stories about what was that man's name that was in
Bird,
I guess he was in the Navy or the Air
Admiral
Force?
Bird,
Admiral Byrd. Yes,
Operation
that was,
High Jump. That's in Relics too,
yes,
by the way.
yes, exactly. It
Yeah.
totally is. Admiral Byrd, I mean, he talked about potentially like inner Earth stuff. I mean, I believe that there's an interest to inner Earth there. I think that's what that is. Plus, like ancient civilizations underneath the ice and stuff. I mean, why do a bunch of like famous people fly to Antarctica? What are they doing down there? Like, what are
Make
they
you
doing?
wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I heard Kerry and a couple others were down there the night of the elections in
Election.
2016.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing down there? But
well, they were getting one last peek.
I guess so. Maybe
Whatever
so.
they're hiding down
Well,
there.
you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense.
They were getting one last peek. I mean, maybe it's like some kind of, they've got like, you know, anti-aging technology that I've been talking about the past couple of shows. I'm like, where is it? I need it. Just kidding. I mean, there's no telling.
Yeah.
There's no telling what's down there. You know, there's certain things like I haven't really remote viewed that whole area. I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm staying away from it. But I didn't. Well, like I said, I don't know what Barry's giving me. Barry gives me blind targets now. I don't know where I'm going. But when I realize that I'm somewhere that might be potentially dangerous, I pull out of it and I don't get too deep. But just like with those black octagons. And another thing, allegedly that aircraft or the UFO was shaped like an octagon. Okay, the one over Lake Huron was shaped like an octagon. I had just done a show on a black octagon, an ancient one. So I wonder what's up with that. I wonder if there's a connection, John. What do you think?
I'm sure there is somewhere. You know, there's that saying, nothing's by chance, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing's
a coincidence.
You know, everything just is kind of coming together. Do you feel like everything's coming to a head almost?
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm worried.
Yeah.
What's next?
I was telling people earlier in the week, I feel like I'm living in the first third of the movie Signs. I mean,
Signs, that's a great movie.
Things are going on, but you're not sure what they are, but it's creepy and nobody knows what to think. And, you know, we have been suffering with just, it's like we've got terminal tension has been put up on us since 2020. You know, everything's tense. Nobody's relaxed. There's always bad news. You know, it's just there's always something where, fear. And you know, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is find a way to, you know, get away from it, cleanse it out of your head for a little bit, and remember who you are, and you know, all the things you have that are good in your life. Because I mean, if you sit there all day and just watch the news or look at social media, you know, you can just be deluged with fear and bad things happening.
That's why I put so much content out there, so people will be distracted by all my weird stuff I post, so they won't pay attention to all that other crap. Okay, that's why I stay busy, is to keep the masses entertained on the good stuff. I'm just kidding. All these weird shows I do, John, I don't know. I'm having so much fun doing this.
Yeah, well, I love your show, and you do cover some things. And to answer Walking Lightly, yes, he did report. It's reported that Admiral Byrd did report an interest into an inner Earth type thing there. I believe he said it was green foliage and all that. I didn't research his sighting very much. I just researched the ships and the planes and stuff that were down there because I needed it for the story I was writing at the time. So, but I have heard that he did see an opening to an inner Earth, and that's been reported since then too by Navy C-130 crew that operates in and out of there. Also, do you ever watch any Linda Moulton Howe stuff?
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, I haven't in a while, but I used to all the time. She'd be on Ancient Aliens back when I used to watch it.
Did you see the one? I think it was a Navy flight crew on a C-130 picked up a bunch of scientists, and they were all just like totally quiet, like they were in a daze or in a.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll find it.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's a weird, very weird story.
Yeah, well, she has a lot of whistleblowers. Now, there was one whistleblower, I think that I don't. There's some controversy behind at least one of those, because I have a friend who's in the chat who brought that to my attention with some of the information that she'd put out. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's you know, a lot of these whistleblowers that have come out. That's another issue too. It's like whistleblowers come out, and like, can we even trust the whistleblowers anymore too?
No, we can't. You know, I have a friend who has a podcast, and he'll send these intel things sometimes. And one time he sent me, we're operating A-10s in the Ukraine. It showed some guy talking, and these two A-10s fly by. Well,
Okay.
it was both were the exact same plane, and both the shading on them wasn't correct with the, it was CGI, and you could tell it was CGI, but people are just throwing stuff out to scare everybody, right now.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, John Q. Public has the ability now with computers and CGI graphics and the programs they have to make anything look real, so you really got to question everything.
It includes, yeah, okay.
Hey, you're back.
Okay. That's really I need the show. I glitch all the time. Yeah. Back. Hello.
Hi there.
Hey, am I back yet? Okay.
Yeah,
am I back? You can probably hear me.
Say, ooh, I'm glad you're back. You don't want me
Okay.
hosting the show. Your ratings will take a dive.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That's why I named the show A Glitch in the Matrix, because I glitch out every show. I'm messing around. But yes, it's wow, I forgot what I was talking about because I glitched out.
Well, we were still in Antarctica, and the octagon-shaped UFO that was shot down. Yeah.
Yes.
And you mentioned the octagon-shaped UFO that was shot down.
Yes. Yeah. We were still talking about the whistleblowers too. Like it's hard to trust whistleblowers now. Like that, I won't say their names, but there's certain ones that come out and they've got some great information and it starts a whole movement. And then they're like, oh, I lied. It was all a lie. I was just making all that up. So we have to just I think at the beginning of the show, I mentioned, I always go with my gut now. Okay. And so, and something, like I said, something seems very fishy about these UFOs being shot down. And that's just my gut. Okay. But I think that if each of us will just go with our gut now and don't look to outside sources for all the answers, just be aware that there are programs like this Blue Beam. Okay. I think I have a picture of, I mean, this is just like a hologram. Okay. And I pulled up, I got a picture of a holographic type of UFO. Just because this is the plan. It's actually to bring out holographic UFOs and all this other kind of craziness, and make people believe that this is real aliens coming in to take over, a existential threat to humanity. Where today, I hope that we were able to show the audience that these UFOs have been around for a very long time, and I think we're going to be okay. It's the mass media and other outlets that we have to worry about, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just something to think about. It's something to think about, and a lot of us have been what you would call like prepping. I guess is the word. It sounds kind of crazy, a little not crazy. Everyone should prep, but just that term has almost like, oh, those are preppers, it's not a bad idea to get a stock up on food and water filters and, toilet paper.
Yeah, right? It's absolutely not canned goods, things that are going to last. Yes.
Yeah. Just to be prepared, because we really need to take care of ourselves and our families. And when the whole world is like collapsing all around us, just be strong and know your local farmers, know your local people you can buy things from or trade. It's not even about buying with money. I mean, our money might be obsolete, like the dollars and everything. Just to, learn to trade, like start canning food, so you can trade people. If you have like a cabinet of liquor, like be ready to like trade that vodka for, some diapers or something if you need them. I mean, I know it's just a good idea. It's just a good idea to get ready, because there may be a fake alien invasion being rolled out right now.
And with that kind of technology, they can throw anything at us, anything
yes.
they want.
Yes. Yeah, well, there's a full capability of that happening, and there's also governments across the world are working in conjunction together on all this. Okay, they could be. I'm just saying, just be open to that possibility. Yeah, that it could be a choreographed something or another, something choreographed, kind of like wrestling. You know, like the wrestling on TV. It's choreographed. Okay, but yeah, it's yes, and it's food for thought. Actually, I like that, Francesca. Have you considered they throw out the psyop of UFOs so they can blame it on the aliens when we get hit with another EMP attack? Absolutely. Yes. Yes. It's a good, yeah, because that's something else that we have to worry about that has been rumored that we will be, the power grids will be going down. Attacks on our water systems as well. I mean, John, I just heard recently about some like water treatment plants that were remotely accessed where they were some hacker was able to go in and release a whole bunch of like really bad chemicals into the
Oh,
water.
really?
And people were drinking that water because it was supposed to be like 11% of something, some kind of chemical went in the water, and they put like 11,000% or something, or
Wow.
1,100. I think it was 11,000, something crazy. And people got very sick over that. And that's something else that we need to worry about as well. Not that we need to worry, but just to be aware of.
Well, and it doesn't take much to bring your water system down. Ours went down here Christmas night, and it was because we'd had really bad weather, really cold weather. And there's a lot of cabins up in these mountains that people rent out for the weekends and this and that. Well, they weren't rented. There was nobody in them. So when this hard freeze came down, we got down in the teens. There was nobody turning the water off at the meter or to leave the water running. So a couple of days later, when it thawed out, all of a sudden we're out of water because there's so many busted pipes in all these cabins that when the water, when the frost came, it emptied out the water towers that
Oh
quick.
my gosh.
Yeah, so they were having to go
Wow.
out and find all these water leaks. And the owners of the house, the cabins may live in Texas, Oklahoma City, wherever, and they're having to turn the water off out at the road. But yeah, we couldn't keep the water towers filled for a couple of days.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, you can't live without water.
No.
It's yeah, so we gotta watch out for attacks on any kind of infrastructure like that. It's good to have a well. Okay. Living out in the country. John, you live out in the country. So
I got two wells, but both pumps are busted. But that's my as soon as the weather warms up, that's job one. I'm getting those wells up and running.
oh, good. Well, yeah, it's not a bad idea to have wells. So and wells, WELLS, not whales like in the ocean. Okay. Candy, thank you so much for that super sticker. That is so sweet of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, that's we're in for, I think we should all buckle up. We're in for a wild ride. Okay, a wild ride. Yeah, John, tell everybody about your book series. Because we have just gone over. I was trying to stick to an hour today. So we went a little bit over, but it's all good. We're talking about some good stuff today.
Okay, well, I've got 2 series out and working on putting out 2 more. First series, really for adults, is Relics. The first book came out in 2017, and then I republished it back in 2021 with Empire Publishing. Fantastic publisher. But anyway, you read that, and it reads like it's a pretty big size Bigfoot novel, and it contains about every aspect of the Bigfoot story you want. There's government cover-ups, military operations, possibility of them being related to Nephilim from the Old Testament. There's all this stuff going on, and it was such a big story. It needed 2 more people. So, Relics.
It's a great story. It's great, John. You need even more. Like, it's literally the best book I've ever read on Bigfoot, other than Quantum Bigfoot. That's Ron Moorhead though, but that's more of like scientific stuff. This is a nail biter. Like, it's so action packed with killer Bigfoots in it. It's amazing. I love it. So yeah, thank you, John, for writing these, by the way.
Oh,
I love them.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, it's my pleasure when they're done. Sometimes writing them.
I know, right?
Pleasurable, but yeah, but the series just takes you from the main story in all 3 books happens in Southeast Oklahoma, which I found out when I first started researching writing a novel was a Sasquatch hotspot. So and ended up moving here in 2018. But the second book introduces a connection to UFOs, fallen angels, hybrids. And the third book kind of ties everything together. You find out who there's some political issues in there where politicians they're being controlled by a evil entity to, make decisions and things that aren't necessarily good for the rest of us.
Sounds familiar.
There's a lot of cryptid activity, UFO activity in that. The story really centers around that. But it ties up the Relics series and allows me to take some of the characters from the characters people really like. And I'm starting another series with those characters called Enigma Team. And this is going to be more of a worldwide operations they're doing as they hook up with a company, a research and development company, and that's based in the Channel Islands between Great Britain and France. So a lot of action, a lot of I love to tie in my stories with historic things. So like I was saying earlier, there's a Project High Jumps in them, Roswell, Kenneth Arnold, the Hobart incident off the coast of Vietnam, that UFO incident. In the third book, there's time travel introduced, the Kecksburg UFO, the Nazi UFO, and their wonder weapons, but it still centers around these guys in Oklahoma. So I know it sounds like you can't do it, but you can tie it all together.
You can tie it all together.
It just took about 8 years.
And it all circles back to Honubby.
Yeah, there you
Oklahoma. Go. I finally got it right. Finally said it right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm actually going to be doing a show. I think it's next Wednesday, either next Wednesday or the next. I don't know what day it is, but I'm going to be talking about like a reptilian race it's like a race of like these reptilian beings in Vietnam. In Vietnam, the soldiers actually had to encounter.
Oh, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a show on that here in a week or two. Yeah.
Well, I got those in my book I'm currently working on. Dragons of the Southern Cross. So.
Well, we're going to have to talk about that sometime.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I might get some ideas from you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm doing a show on it, so we'll consort or whatever. We'll figure out what's going on with those. But yeah, John, thank you so much. So people can find your books at relicsbook.com. So if you guys are interested, please go support John. John Vandeventer, you are awesome. I have had so much fun talking with you today. It really did fly by, actually.
It did, and I love being on your show. Thank you so much. This is third time in a year?
Yeah.
I just love being on your show. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being my guest. You actually came on my show at KGRA. That was the first show you did with me. And then you came on Spaced Out Radio, and now you're here on my channel. So this will not be the last time that you are here. And also I saw one comment a while ago, and I wanted to address this real quick. So Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot said, I recently found out the government labs are dumping mutant experiments in West Tennessee, attacked by 2 types. Okay. Look up my show on zombie bears. Okay. Zombie bears.
Hey, he might be a guest you need to put on.
Yeah, seriously. I saw that comment and I had to address that. I actually did I was asked to remote view two unspecified animal attacks out of East Tennessee, actually. And it had something to do with almost like a government experiment of what I saw to be like a zombie bear, but it was almost, I got some information that our government had been doing a program with, or an agency with super soldiers where they were injecting like bear DNA into humans, special forces.
Did you ever watch South Park before you get away?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I used to.
The man bear pig.
Yes.
I mean, all that stuff you laugh about, and all of a sudden it's like it's not so funny.
Because that's what they're doing. And it's almost like they've got to tell us what they're doing.
Yeah, they broadcast it
as they're doing it. And they say it as a joke, and we all laugh about it. So yeah. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I got
In fact, it was Gore. Yeah. It was Al Gore on that cartoon that said they'd introduced man bear pig
Oh my gosh. Yes, man pig. Well, now we've got these chimeras and stuff, you know. It's just something that is being rolled out, I guess. I think they've probably been doing that for many, many years. We're just finding out about it. And Margie, thank you for that super sticker. You are very sweet. I appreciate that. But yes, this has been a fantastic show today, John. So maybe you got some more ideas for your next book too.
Oh
Who
yeah,
knows? Yeah.
big hit.
Well,
Thank you
we'll
so
talk
much.
about that. We'll talk about that zombie bear, and maybe you can throw a zombie bear in your next novel.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All
thank you
right.
so much. I appreciate it, Jessica.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on, and everybody, please join me tomorrow night. I have remote viewed the Lake Yellowstone Whispers and a Black Fog. They're two separate targets. They were blind targets given to me by Barry Littleton, and I did not know what they were. Okay. And one of them actually, well, I do know what they are now, but when he gave them to me, I didn't know. And the fog is actually, it has a tie to Gugway, the mutant Sasquatch. They say that this fog will roll through Yellowstone and hikers will go missing. And some say that the Gugway hides in this fog and takes the hikers and kills them. Okay. And some hikers are found with their necks broken and stuff. So this is what our show is about tomorrow night. So you guys please tune in 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night on my YouTube channel and on Facebook with Barry Littleton. That's going to be a fantastic show tomorrow night. So y'all join me there. And then this weekend, I have Saturday night, I have Terry Wendell of Rock Hill Bigfoot coming on. It's the anniversary of the portal incident with my team. He was there. He was one of the witnesses to it. We're going to talk about that and all his projects he's got going on. And then Sunday, I have D.A. Roberts coming on. And so author D.A. Roberts, we're going to talk about Dogman. Okay, so y'all come see me. And John, I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Everybody watch the skies. Be sure that, yeah, just question everything. That's what I'm going to leave it on today. Okay. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. We will see y'all next time. All right. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.